from Google Fiber. They have officially increased the speed of their fiber in Des Moines, Iowa, West Des Moines, I should say. I don't know how much that makes a difference. They are now doing 8 gigabit per second speed tier in Des Moines. It is a symmetrical 8 gigabit per second option. This gets added to their 1 gig, 2 gig, and 5 gig service options. The 8 gig service costing $150 per month includes the Wi-Fi 6 router. You can also get 1 or 2 mesh extenders to enhance the coverage throughout your home or business. Subscribers get unlimited data. They're not tracking or metering anything. 1 terabyte of cloud storage, free installation, and 24/7 customer care. The Google Fiber service does come with a 10 gig fiber jack, 10 gigabit per second capable optical network terminal, or ONT. And man, that's pretty awesome. Even just think about the pricing, right? We discussed the pricing actually on the previous episode of the podcast, but now we're seeing it go to more cities. So basically, wherever Google Fiber has fiber, expect the 8 gig symmetrical option to become available, and it's going to be selling for $150. I think AT&T's at least, I
It's
think,
180
double the
for 5
price.
gigs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like even their 5 gig service, I think is 220, right? Right, Brandon?
The 5 gig service was 180.
180. Okay, all
I
right.
was
So
about to.
they
I was
got
about
them.
to say it's 180.
They got them beat on every single price and tier. Uh, I don't know. It's really interesting, and I'm going to talk about this more when we get to the next story because it's a follow up to this one. There's like a reinvigoration happening with Google Fiber. All of a sudden now they got a hair on their booty, and it's like, yo, let's do this again. Let's breathe life into the fiber service, and they're kicking it up a notch in places where they offer it. I really wish they had it here. I'm sure a lot of people wish they had Google Fiber as an option, both for the pricing and the sake of the speed tiers as well. Let me start off with Bryant. Bryant, I know you kind of follow the industry. You know, you're like us. We're network geeks or whatever. You know, we love the fiber talk and discussion and the growth in the networking and wireless and all that. What do you think about Google Fiber going with 8 gigabit speed tier to a city or a segment of a city like Des Moines, Iowa? Because I mean, I know that Des Moines, Iowa exists, but it's not some place that I typically think about when I think of fiber. But what do you think about Google lighting up 8 gig symmetrical in West Des Moines, Iowa?
Well, it's definitely smart. You want to go to a place that may be traditionally underserved as far as traditional ISPs, so that gives you kind of that first to market type of feel with the customer base. It's definitely important. The price points that they have, pretty outstanding. I was thinking that while you were announcing everything, Sneed. I mean, $150 for 8 gigs is an outstanding price point, and it's much less expensive than what AT&T is charging. So it's pretty smart. I mean, Google's hitting on all cylinders. It makes sense right now. You want to take advantage of the current political environment as it pertains to, you know, expanding internet accessibility and availability across the country. This is the time to do the building if you can afford to do it. Fiber's not it's not cheap to build out. FTTP is very expensive, but if you can afford it, now is the time to try to see if you can, expand that customer base, get some of the government funding and everything that it takes to, complete the build out, help people pay for it, all that kind of stuff. It makes a lot of sense. I think Google's being very, very smart here. I'm impressed that they're continuing to build out their network because for a while they were pretty much in one city. They were like Kansas City, and that's it. So the
Yeah,
fact that
yeah,
they're
it was really quiet for a long time. That's true.
Yep. Yeah. And so the fact that they're kind of taking advantage of the political environment and the what's going on right now makes a lot of sense. And at the end of the day, it's good for the consumer, it's good for businesses, good for competition, and good for connectivity for everybody. So good thing.
Let me get Brandon in here. Brandon, go.
It sounds pretty exciting because it sounds pretty exciting because this is only going to put somewhat the DOCSIS 4.0 project with all the it's going to push the DOCSIS faster, whatever. Because I remember when Google Fiber was like when Google Fiber came out back in 2012 or 11 or whatever, AT&T was only doing 300 megabits. and then they started to do the 1 gigabit, and they called that gigapower. So the 8 gigs, I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting down the road because this is only going to motivate ISPs to go faster. I mean, have faster upload speed and also as well as a download speed. Not only that, but it's also going to decrease pricing.
All right, B. Let me get Zero Cool up in here.
All right, just to kind of, echo everybody's sentiment here. So, I hope Google Fiber expands into more areas with their 8 gigabytes. So what I'm seeing here is it is a paradigm shift for internet speeds. We're so used to the 1 gigabyte internet speed. That was kind of like the standard of what everybody had. And now it is shifted to we're going to be having the fiber and cable companies with a 10 gigabyte link for downstream and upstream, right? So we're getting eventually into that 10 gig mark, and then when time goes on, it's eventually going to be moved up to like 25 and 100 gig, whatever, right? So it's good to have Google Fiber having 8 gigabytes, and I think we're establishing kind of like a baseline here, right? Of at least 10 gigabyte throughput for customers. It's good for customers, great for businesses. This is what data demands, right? We always need more data. We always need more speed. We always need more everything, right? So this is good to that Google is expanding, and hopefully they'll be in more cities. And I can't wait for other ISPs such as Charter, Comcast, God forbid T-Mobile do their have 10 gigabyte throughput in markets. I think that'd be great.
Hey, Austin, can you think of any person or type of user where this wouldn't be enough? 8 gigabit per second.
Oh, it's plenty because no, this is even too much for him. Also, I wanted to touch on a previous conversation that I was listening to the stream. I couldn't get in. Florida in the springtime's like the Middle East.
That bad, huh?
Yeah, it can literally go in March from 30 degrees.
Well, what part of the Middle
70.
East? Like dry, hot Egypt, or like swampy, crazy, humid Qatar?
Qatar and the Keys, and dry, hot, and annoying, dusty up in the north.
Mm-hmm.
Florida literally has your swamp ass and the down, the swamp down in the down in the Everglades, and then you got
where the skunk apes resteth, right?
Yeah, where the skunk apes rest, and where the T-Mobile fiber is being laid.
Boo!
We got no radio in here. I wanted to ask him about the fiber, actually, Austin. So no radio, chime in, man, just because I want to move on to the next part of the story. 8 gigabit per second, and it's coming in at $150. It feels like there's a breath of fresh air coming into Google Fiber, man.
Oh yeah, man. Sounds like it's about to raise the bar.
Yeah.
Because,
didn't they leave over there?
That price. Well, no, they just stopped building.
Yeah, they just put a hold on everything, right?
A long pause.
So don't expect it to expand anymore.
Oh shoot!
They are going to expand, but
so we talk about speed planets. That's going to be a speed island. That's going to be a speed universe.
Speed universe.
You know what,
Hey,
Nori? I actually agree. I agree. It is going to be a speed line because only certain areas will be able to get that type of speed on Google Fiber, and everybody else won't even be able to get it at all.
Yeah, but I agree with that. It'll be the one street policy. So on the left side of the street, you can get it. On the right side of the street, you can't get it.
Yeah. But see, I have the one issue with all of it. If these companies keep raising the bar on the speeds, yet they're not expanding who can get decent speeds in the first place.
Well, what does it
doesn't
take
matter
to raise
at
the
that
speed,
point.
and then what does it take to add a street?
Well, that's what I'm saying is for the general masses, it's only going to help the people who live in those places. Everybody else is still going to be screwed.
I don't understand. I don't understand the issue. I mean, that's you have to build it, and then I don't understand the issue.
No, okay. What I'm saying is you can. It's like putting a millimeter wave on a pyramid in the desert, and then that's all I'm saying. If you go into some of these cities, Google Fiber is literally in 2 neighborhoods, but the city has 6,000 neighborhoods. Who cares if 2 neighborhoods can get 8 gigs and everybody else is still stuck?
Facts.
It's only gonna help a small amount of people. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's like the greater good would be nicer. If there's people still getting 1 meg, yet there's gonna be a street corner that can get 8 gigs.
Well, I hear that. Just like I was saying before, you know, but fiber to the premise programs separate the companies that have hair on their chest from the companies that don't. It's expensive. It's expensive. It is what it is. And, you know, consumers can say what they want. Everybody wants to pay $30 for it. It's expensive to build out. It's expensive. So, I mean, that's the reason why DOCSIS 4.0 and everybody's trying to come up with a cheap way to make it actually profitable to do all of this build. And it's extremely difficult. The telecommunications industry has been screaming for profitability for a decade plus. So I understand, you know, big numbers and billions of dollars of revenue, but how much are they able to keep versus what they're having to put out in order to get the customer to actually purchase the service? It's just not as profitable as it used to be. So I can understand what you're saying. It makes a lot of sense. But to your point, the fact that Google Fiber is expanding at all for about, you know, 5 to 7 years, not doing anything at all as far as expansion is concerned.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
this is progress. So,
but on the other side of that coin, right? There are smaller companies than Google who are expanding way faster. Smaller companies.
Yeah.
Are they providing 8 gigs down and up symmetrical? Because
So
I don't know.
Wait. What I'm saying is this, right? All I'm saying is this: there are small companies here who are adding. They're adding 150,000 houses to get gigs. Google's going to up the speed on the existing people, who is already a very small minority.
I don't disagree, but I mean this is not Google's main source of revenue. It's not their same business. So I mean, you know, I get it. I mean, what you're saying is valid. It's credible, and I don't want to, you know, I don't want to sound like it's not. But I don't know, man. To me, I'm just glad to see that, you know, Google is actually expanding. It took them a long time before they even started doing what they're doing now. They weren't doing anything for years. So the fact that they're going into these markets, it makes a lot of sense. It's adding competition. Like you said, to your point, hopefully they expand into more neighborhoods and things of that nature. Yeah. But even if they don't, just the fact that their presence is there could encourage other competition to increase their activities in Des Moines, Iowa, for example. So I mean, that's a good thing for everybody involved.
Let's get to this next point, and then I think it kind of goes to what No Radio was saying, and then also to what Brian is saying. The next report about Google Fiber is they plan to expand the network in North Carolina and Iowa. Okay, so Google Fiber has agreed to build a fiber broadband network in Council Bluffs, Iowa, additionally in Huntersville, North Carolina.
Outside of Charlotte.
Okay, so is that why you think they picked it? Is because it's still so close in proximity?
Well, like I said, for example, do you think they can change the price in a whole city if they only build 2 neighborhoods? What I'm saying is we're all saying here they're going to boost the competition with the speed, right? But when you find out that the city has 400,000 people, but only 20,000 can get Google Fiber, they're not going to change the pricing of that whole city. They're not going to make the competition really sweat that hard.
Yep.
They're going to take a few neighborhoods and then they're going to chill.
How about this real quick? Huntersville has an expected growth rate of 74%.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what type of suburb this is, but it seems like it might be an affluent one.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, it is. It is the right place to go. If you're in Charlotte, you're either going to the southern part of the city or you're going to Huntersville. That's where all of the homes are. The big homes, the medium-sized homes. That's where all the expansion is. It makes perfect sense for them to want to try to get network connectivity into those markets. Number one, because those customers can afford it, to their point about being affluent. But number two, because it's easier to build there. Those homes aren't super spaced out. So you can cover an entire street without having to, worry about these large amounts of space between each individual, single family unit home. Yeah. So I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of good business sense. And because it's Google, because their brand is so powerful. Yeah, I mean, because the Google brand is so powerful, whatever they do is going to be widely reported, and it's going to make everybody step their game up.
But I'll tell you, Brian, I'm gonna tell you what actually happened to them, right? When they everywhere they've always gone, where they went and built in the Durham, Chapel Hill area, they went to the affluent areas first. And guess what? They had the hardest time building there because it was affluent. Everybody was complaining. HOAs were fighting them. Right. That's the thing. So like, yeah, you're getting those high-end customers, but then them same people don't want you to build in their yard.
Well, you know how that is.
Their corner. Yeah, but that's why they stopped. That's literally the reason why they didn't keep building. They ran out of money fighting lawsuits every week.
That's a point. That is a point. That is a point that does not get discussed enough. It is an excellent point. A lot of the reason why there's not a lot of internet internet connectivity in a lot of these, urban, suburban areas is because the consumers oftentimes they stop it. You're absolutely right. People complain. Yeah. They do the same thing about the cell sites, about the small cells. People say in one breath, we want more connectivity, we want more access. And then in the same breath, they are complaining and protesting and saying we don't want the stuff here. So it is very difficult in this industry. Again, it's very difficult to find the profitability to actually build it out. I mean, it's not easy. So I get it.
But you can go in the hood. You can go in the hood and do what you want. That's why I'm saying the hood is easier to build in. Verizon millimeter wave in Greensboro is a testament to that. They built millimeter wave in the housing projects first because they got no pushback. They got zero pushback to go over there.
Same thing in Trenton.
You're absolutely right. It's just, I mean, you're almost damned if you do, damned if you don't, because oftentimes because of affordability, they can't necessarily afford the service, but it's all there. So it still makes sense to build because you do have the ACP program through the government where people can, have that price point subsidized. You can still be able to help those customers and still be able to make some revenue. So it does make sense for, these companies to go into those areas as well. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, with the good points being made, man. I see you, man. That's what's up.
I've been at it 14 years, man. I done seen all the struggles. I done fought these battles with people already.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we have a Moose sighting. Moose, what is up?
Hold on.
Yeah. It's always a good Friday. That was a good Friday.
Bro, where's my 100 gig backhaul?
Dude, but you're absolutely right. There's a situation with my uncle's place where they're extremely particular, but very anal in regards to how things look aesthetically.
Moose,
so everything
is a family
needs to be,
show. Moose,
Show, everything needs to be, underground, or it's not going to happen, right? So Spectrum is currently there, right? Various other fiber providers want to be there, but the cost to do it is so astronomical, right?
Yep.
They don't see the return on investment for probably 30 years. No joke, right?
Yep, so they stop building. I mean, it makes sense, man. A lot of the problem with internet expansion in this country is not necessarily because telcos don't want to expand. They're in the business of making money.
But hold up, Brian. I disagree with you because remember when AT&T stole all that money to build out fiber and they took the government's money and ran away?
Well, I mean, again, I'm not saying that there haven't been bad actors and that every company has done the right thing. I get it. To your point, you're right about that. But in general,
stole money.
You got these companies who want to build out, especially nowadays. But it's challenging. There are a lot of roadblocks in order to be able to do that. To your point,
I think the government needs to give these companies protections. If they're giving you money to build a place, they should give them protection so these homeowners can't stop it. It's like, hey, just like they do highways, we're building a highway right here. They're gonna take your house, they're gonna take that PCO land, they're gonna pay you whatever, and you're gonna go away.
They're gonna hide your kids. You gotta tell them. You gotta hide your kids. You gotta hide your houses. We're coming through.
Good luck with that, man. It sounds good, but I can't see that ever happening in America, man. It's just this is the land of argument.
You guys remember the FCC when they did the 5G upgrade policies? We still have municipalities with massive resistance.
Yep.
But guess what? You know what these people in rural America do when they see any ISP coming?
They throw parties.
Hey, you want to borrow my tractor? I'll dig the hole for you. I'll give it
for you. Right. They invite them. Absolutely. What do you want for dinner? Right.
I don't know, guys. I mean, there have been reports of some rural communities who have been, who have fought expansion into their areas as well. It just depends. There's like 3,000 counties in this entire country. It's ridiculous how much red tape it takes to do anything in this country. So,
well, I'll tell you, in my area, for at least here in North Carolina, for you to get that money, the people in that community have to actually petition to receive it.
Yeah, there's truth to that too. Yep.
There's a company here that's how they do it. There's obviously a government rural map that's marked, but the people in that city have to show interest to the provider and they have to prove it. They literally have to go out and get all these addresses and people to say, yes, I want this before they even get the funding.
Yep.
So then you turn around and sign up for it and then say, I don't want it on my yard. That's crazy.
And this is the reason why Verizon and T-Mobile have gone fixed wireless, because you don't have to worry about that last mile getting fiber to every single home. You put a cell site, you put a small cell up, whatever the case may be, it transmits, and that serves as the last mile. So you don't have as much resistance. And oftentimes those things are built on the highway. So it's public right away. You don't have to worry about going on somebody's property, getting permissions. No, it's on the public right away. I don't have to worry about doing anything but talking to the city, talking to the municipality. As long as I can get that done, it's easier to do that than it is to try to build FTTP. That's the reason why, fiber for a long time really wasn't being invested in at scale across multiple different companies, because it's expensive and it's a lot of red tape and nobody wants to lose their hair prematurely.